Welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. If you're looking for a new car, make sure you check out my guy Matt Bowers at one of his mini dealerships throughout the region. He's got the new pre-owned dealership up there on Vets. Make sure you go and check that out. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. The draft is one day away, Thursday night. They'll be making their pick probably, I don't know, around 8:20-ish, somewhere around there probably. And there'll be a new member of the New Orleans Saints. What do we got? What do we got today?
We got our first segment presented by Hard High Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. We just wrapped up speaking with Saints General Manager Mickey Loomis, and he Stonewall will kind of be the word that I would use about that whole situation. He stonewalled every question that came up about Derek Carr. He was like, "We're not talking about Derek Carr, the people on the roster. We're talking about pre-draft and what's going to go on in the draft." So that's one of the many things he talked about. But let's start off there. What did you take from his comments?
There were a lot of comments today, a lot of no comments, a lot of we're starting with the car stuff.
Yeah, we'll start with the car.
There's nothing to say there. I mean, it was kind of, I didn't expect much. I expected a little more though, a little more, just something on it. I get why they're playing it the way they're playing it. There's probably still a lot of stuff to figure out. You're probably trying to keep it peaceful and not try to not try to go to war or anything like that. But I do think there was probably an opportunity there to set a tone. Like,
Yeah.
you got a new coach, you're trying to establish a culture. You got a guy that may or may not be all the way bought in, and if he's not, I mean, it's a chance to get everything on the right page. I think it's just time to go, man. Like, I think it's just time to be done with it and be over it and just start something new and start fresh and start clean. I get not wanting to tip your hand the day before the draft, but I think everybody already assumes it anyhow. I don't know what it really changes at all,
Yeah.
unless you're coming out there to say he's coming back. But the fact that you can't say he's your starting quarterback, the fact that there's no update on it, I mean, it's all very, very telling. The fact that you're hoping to get clarity soon kind of tells me that you don't have clarity yet. I know that Loomis has talked to Derek Carr and all that stuff, but there's something there that isn't quite coming together, and it still points back to the same exact thing: is whether or not this shoulder surgery, if everybody's in agreement that it's a necessity. That's the only thing that my mind can go to, and without answers, all we can do is continue to speculate.
Yeah, no, and that's not for a lack of poking and prodding kind of for an answer of any kind. And he just shut every possible answer down. They had people in there trying to come from the side door, people trying to come to the back door, tunnel on the ground and come up and get an answer, like Mission Impossible, rappel for the
Yeah.
ceiling, looking for an answer. And he just was shutting it all down. So I don't know kind of what that approach does kind of for the long term, because every time going forward, he will be asked about this until there's a clear cut answer given.
Yeah, I think at some point he's going to be willing to talk about it. I don't think he was going to do it before the draft, and I don't think he's going to do it until it's settled. That's
Yeah.
just not his style. I mean, I'm not surprised by it. I'm frustrated by it though. I mean,
Mhm.
it's frustrating to go in there and not get answers. You want to have answers. You want to know what's going on, and it just feels very weird still. And I'm just ready for it to be done. And I can't imagine anybody listening to this, regardless of how they feel about whether they want him back or not. I'm sure they want some finality to the situation
Yeah.
as well. And the fact that it's just lingering and ongoing is just incredibly frustrating. And it's something that you just don't want to be hanging over the whole entire season. You just want it to be done. You want it to be over with, and you want to be able to move on, and can't right now. And I don't know, kind of foolishly, I was maybe thinking that today there'd be something new, something more, and
You would
there's just
hope.
not.
Yeah.
And I don't. The approach doesn't ultimately matter, but yeah, it is frustrating to kind of get just no answers on it at all.
Going on to another thing that was spoken about was he and Kellen Moore's relationship and how they're going in with the united vision. And even though they're not talking about Carr, and Carr is a very big and important part of that, being the starting quarterback, it's pretty good to hear that outside of that, which is a very important part, but outside of it, that they're on one accord and going forward with the same outlook.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff just kind of pointing toward it being built from the trenches. I mean, from back at the hotel. I can't remember what hotel we were at during the Super Bowl, sitting at that table with him, talking about his philosophies on team building and putting things together and how you do different things. We were talking to him about everything but the actual specific Saints. I mean, he was saying back then that his core belief, his one of the things foundational to how he views football is that you build it from the lines and then go back from there. And I think there's a lot of stuff pointing to that right now. I think that's I think that's where they're gonna go at 9, honestly. I mean, I really think if I had to bet today, it would be offensive line, because of that, and then Mickey kinda supported that idea today. They're not giving Trevor Penning the fifth-year option. Doesn't mean they can't re-sign him still. They did the same thing with Cesar Ruiz and signed him to an extension, but I think as it stands right now, you can't call that pick anything other than a disappointment. I mean,
Yeah.
he became okay. Like you put him on the field and he wasn't a liability last year, but he wasn't a plus. Like he was okay in run blocking. He was a negative as a pass blocker. I think that you try to upgrade that position if the opportunity's there in this draft. And I think that they just feel like if you get that line right, everything else becomes easier about playing football. And it sounds like Mickey's on the same page with that. But they were on the same page with that for a long time. I mean, man, every pick over the last 5, 6 years, it feels like has been on the offensive line in the first round, except for
Yeah.
Olave,
Brzee.
in Brzee was defensive line, so it was on one of the 2 lines every year
Yeah,
going
yeah.
back. So Fuaga, Brzee, Chris Olave, obviously, Penning same year, Peyton Turner, Ruiz, Eric McCoy was the first pick that year, Davenport. So since Lattimore, I mean, there's only been one first round pick that wasn't a trench player, and they had 2 picks that year. So definitely on the same page there. But I think a lot of stuff is pointing towards everything going that direction.
Yeah, and then that'll lead into another point that he made about how he realizes 5 and 12, that's just what it is, and now it's win now. So that bodes kind of well to adding to the trenches and getting that trench work in of having just protection up front to help you win now because that was an issue the last couple of years, even when injuries and stuff were really a huge part of last year. But being that they've sat there and looked in the mirror and said, "Yeah, we're 5 and 12. That's what we have to atone for now going forward."
It's interesting because, like, I think it kind of is, but I also think I think that would be the most clearly indicative move toward rebuilding at the same time because there isn't an immediate need at all at the edge position. Like you could go into the season with Fuaga and Penning. I think a more like trying to win now move is taking the skill position player or something else. Because like you have holes there right now. So I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I see that point of view, but I also think that's kind of a more of a future looking move than, oh well, you got to get someone that can, you got to get T Mac out there right now to help with Spencer Rattler to get better or whatever. Like I think building on to something where I don't, it ain't a strength. It certainly ain't a strength,
Yeah.
but it's gotten to a spot where you don't have a hole necessarily, which would be it would be interesting to me.
But in my mind, it could quickly become a hole if Penning regresses slightly.
Oh
It
yeah,
becomes a
sure,
hole very fast. And
sure.
so even with that, that whole win now thing in my mind is okay. We have the line established. Whoever we put at quarterback, whether it's a rookie, whether it's Rattler, they can come in and eat. But of course, we'll speak about it later in the show. If you add those highly touted skill position players in there, yeah, it can make you win now for sure. But I think that having the offensive line shored up will help in that regardless of
Oh,
who's
no
around.
doubt. No, I mean, shoot, anything they can do to make the team better anywhere.
Yeah.
If you get a player that on November 15th, we're like, yeah, that was a good pick. I mean, like anything right now. I mean, they just need players, man. They need players. I
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna say it's the smartest thing, but I think when you hit on your offensive line, it's never dumb. I think it's only dumb when you pick people that aren't helping you right now. So,
Right.
and that's kind of been the problem a little bit. The philosophy behind just continuing to invest your high end resources into those spots, that isn't dumb. It's just like they haven't had the scouting right, and they've missed on way
Way
too many
too many.
players. And
Yeah.
Penning not getting this option, I mean, it's another miss. It's another huge big miss.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's another huge big miss. And you alluded to it earlier. He spoke on to kind of finish off the press conference, them picking up Chris Olave's 5th year option and not with Penning. When it comes to Olave and kind of the health things that he's been going through over the last couple of seasons and really magnified last season. This fifth year option, how do you see it working out?
He's got to stay healthy. I mean, guarantee him what, like $15 million now. Like he's got to stay healthy. He's just got to, But I think you have to stick with him. I'm not giving up on
Yeah, of
Chris Olave
course.
at all. Yeah, I mean, way too talented of a player. Obviously, injury risk there, but you have to do it. That's a no brainer. The Penning one to me, I mean, that pick to me is it bothers me the way that I think, like, the Peyton Turner pick bothers other people. Like, that pick really, really bothers me, the way it went. You went up for him. You traded up before the draft. There wasn't
Yeah,
a specific target at that spot. I mean, I'm sure there was a target, but it wasn't like this team's on the clock. Ooh, we're trading for the pick to take this guy. Like it was before the draft to happen. So it was just get 2 picks. I was hearing from people before that draft, not necessarily with this team, but with other teams about him, like the concerns about him. You get him in the building. He's just serviceable last year. The first 2 years, you really get nothing out of him. This year, we're talking about maybe, them trying to replace him with another player in the draft. That is a pick that bothers me
yeah,
more than a lot of the other ones. Peyton Turner was injuries, Davenport was injuries. This one was just like can't get on the field. Pete wasn't good enough. Just some of the other misses. Stephon Anthony, like that one. I mean, this feels similar to that almost to me. Granted, there's another year left on this, and you aren't giving up on it yet, but it feels like a really, really big miss to me on a position where you shouldn't have like massive misses like that. Like it's
yeah.
just it bothers me a whole lot.
No, I mean, like that to me, when I even thinking about the way it went down, it's asking somebody for $1 for the vending machine and going in there and pick like a plain bag of Fritos or something like that. Like, there's way better stuff you can get than that mid snack, and that's kind of what it is. They went in there and put all the resources into getting somebody like Penning, and it hasn't returned in dividends at all.
Yeah, it's a big miss to me. Like even it just bothers me, man. Those first couple of years, like you
Yeah,
got no value out of it at all. So even if it is, you just get 2 years of playing. I mean, it's not because he was hurt. It was just because like he couldn't play,
yeah,
and where he was coming from in that, like that should have probably been known. Coming from that small school or whatever. It just felt like that's the stuff I don't want to see happen this year. I think these are the things that
no,
happen when you're
can't
when you're
happen.
when you're when you're trying like when you're afraid to be bad for a little bit, when you're afraid to wait to make the right moves, when you're just doing stuff because you have to do it. Look at Fuaga I felt like a little bit of a forced pick too, and I feel like the value was there, but it was just all right. Going into the draft, going to leave this hole and going to take the best of whatever's left because that's who's got to be
Yeah,
picked, and or there should be one remaining. And I get it, and I understand why it had to happen, and that's probably a better value there. But you want it to be more specific, and I just hope whatever they're doing this year is more specific. And man, that one just like it really bothers me. That's the one that I like.
yeah. No,
It's
I
crazy,
mean,
but like
yeah,
I really
yeah.
have a hard time getting my head around it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an itchy spot that you can't reach. Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. It bothers you. Any closing thoughts on the Loomis press conference? He gave us like 30 minutes worth of, well, 10 of those minutes where I'm not answering the question, but what are some closing thoughts?
No, not really. I mean, I just don't. I don't think that they're going to force a pick at quarterback. That doesn't mean they aren't going to take one. I just don't think that they're going to be like wedging it in there to make it
Yeah,
happen. Where people, I think everyone's kind of moved off the idea of nine, but I just don't think they're going to be overly aggressive at that position. But I think there's still scenarios where they'd be aggressive within the confines of what they deem responsible.
yeah, no, for sure. Let's move on to our next segment presented by Shaber and Shares, the Earhart Agency outside of quarterback. I mean, because that's pretty much a done deal that they're not going there, which we both just spoke on and how we don't think that's going to happen. Which pick would help set the identity of the offense going forward? Well, clearly that would mean they have to take an offensive player, but which player that they draft at 9, you would say, oh, well, this guy immediately helps the offense establish an identity.
I think whoever they pick, I mean that's going to kind of be where it goes. I mean, if it's a quarterback, obviously that's if it's a 40, if they pick a quarterback, it would obviously be, or if they trade up from 40 into the first, if they make a high pick at quarterback between pick 9 and pick 40,
Yeah.
I think that guy becomes the identity of the offense in some form or fashion. But I think if you took the tight end there at 9, you kinda build around him. I mean, whoever they bring into a Genti, I think Genti would I think Genti's in play at 9 if he's there. I think he's
Okay.
the pick at 9 if he's there, honestly. I just don't think he's gonna be there, but I think that would be the pick at 9 if he were there. He will become it, and I don't know that your O-line men, like, the one guy becomes your identity, but if they draft a tackle and then you put them with the tackle you drafted last year and they both end up being good, I think your line as a whole with those bookends, that kinda becomes a little bit of your identity in the same way it is for the Eagles. I think all these guys they have, I still think that O-line is kind of the thing that defines
Yeah.
them and gives them a bit of identity. I think whoever they bring in, if they go offense at 9, I mean, that guy kinda and look, I think it's the same thing on defense because if that guy becomes good, that you take at 9, he becomes your young playmaker. Hopefully, he's a foundational piece. You're hoping whoever you draft at 9 is a foundational piece of your team. I think that guy will become the identity of the defense too, in some form or fashion.
And that's going to my overall answer of whoever it is, they have to be a key piece going forward. I know we were talking about Penning before, not to keep on ragging on the guy, but he was taken so highly and it was seen as a okay, well, this is going to be helping out continuing to win games, and then he just wasn't. So I think whoever this is has to be a part of that, young nucleus of going forward into the 20 damn near until like 20 early 2030s of yeah, this is somebody who has been added to the team to make a difference. But if I had to pinpoint it to two people, it's Tyler Warren and Ashton Genty as the players who will kind of establish the identity of that, because Warren can just do so many things, and like I put in the article yesterday, regardless of who's at quarterback, he can do so many things and be a playmaker. And Genty, I mean, the tape speaks for itself. You know exactly kind of what he is when he has a ball in his hands.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, those two are definitely the guys that change like they become the building blocks, the everything that comes off of them. So yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, for people watching, listening, I apologize if my voice sounds terrible, and I'm looking at myself in the screen, and I feel like I look like the white dude that came out of the woods in Sinners. Like I feel like I look like that dude right now. Incredibly pale. So
Oh, you
just
spoiling, man.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not healthy, but I will be healthy by Thursday. I'm good. I'm good though. But yeah, I feel like I sound bad and I look bad, but we're getting it done.
Yeah, we're getting it done, man, for sure. We're going to hit a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have more show. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store.
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance. The Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com.
Welcome back for more NOF. It is now time for our next segment presented by Aaron Rose. Nick, let's lock in our final picks before the draft. The countdown has started, man. We're in the time where it's getting close for us to just go to the facility, get locked in there, and wait for the Saints to come out with a pick. So let's lock it in. You previewed it a little bit earlier. Where do you think they're going?
I think they're going offensive tackle, one specifically. I'm going to leave that one on the website because someone said I'm going to wait till he says it on YouTube. I ain't saying it on YouTube, buddy. Go sign up. NOF, 20% off. Save 20% on that first payment and get locked in, get the draft coverage, get everything else. But yeah, that's on the website. We all got our picks on there. So I don't want you to give yours up either. Let's pivot here a minute. What? We both went on offensive player. Is there anyone on defense that you would go at that position? At 9. Is there anyone you like? I can go first if you want me to go first. What you think about it?
I have somebody because they were almost my pick. It was almost Michael Williams. It was almost that type of player just because it screams kind of what the Saints have done already before. So that was almost my pick, but I had to lock in on the offensive player just because I think you need him more.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of people think you can get that pass rusher kind of same quality later in the draft. Like I think it's deep with guys that are just kind of similar. I think at the top you got some players. It's interesting to me that Mason Graham seems to be suddenly like in this final week, like nobody seems to want to mock him to a team. I don't know if he's healthy or not. I don't know what's going on. Maybe and I'm going to be a little bit hypocritical here and talk against what I just said, but I think as a full-time 3-4 rush linebacker, Campbell from Alabama could maybe be an option at that spot if the medicals are good and clean and check out and all that stuff. But yeah, if I was going defense, maybe one of those guys. I wish I liked the corner enough. At one point, I liked Will Johnson. I liked his tape, but the fact that he's unwilling to run makes me feel like he's there's
something there.
Yeah, speed thing that raises a red flag. So I think that would probably be my pick. But that I went off it. I was gonna say Michael, and you took it, so I kind of pivoted to my second choice there.
No, I mean, look, I feel like Michael, he just checks so many of the boxes that we know this front office believe in. So that's why I was gonna go with him. But I just feel like the offensive is more of a need because it's in a tough spot. I'm not going to lie. It's in a tough spot on both sides of the ball because you just need something going forward that gives a spark. Right now, this team feels sparkless, and it's kind of fading because just a couple weeks before the draft, your starting quarterback that's been propped up there over these last couple of months of the offseason just automatically is off the board, and now you have to pivot towards this and that. You have older players who have taken restructures and everything like that, but now it's like the guy that was supposed to be leading this train is not here anymore. Of course, you're going to go out there and do what you do, but it just feels like something is missing.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think part of it too, though, is just kind of like what's available. Like I want them to invest on the offense as well.
Yeah.
Like you just lost we think they just lost their. I hope they just lost their quarterback. Like at this point, like I hope that's over. But
yeah, the song and dance is over.
Yeah, it feels like you just need an incredible amount of help on that side of the ball. You just hired an offensive head coach, all that stuff. You need to rebuild both sides probably damn near equally, though. I think just part of it though is just the quality of the player. Like if there was there's Abdul Carter at the top and then this guy right behind him, like I'd be like, oh man, I hope they get I would probably put that edge guy ahead of everything, but I just don't feel like that player is there. I don't feel like you have the Jalen Ramsey type, Marshawn Lattimore type cornerback in this draft class. If they did, I would probably be, if I, covering the team, if they took that guy, I'd be like, oh man, that's a really good pick. Like they need that. They need to build around. It just doesn't feel like there's necessarily that quality. I think that's the problem with the whole draft, though. There just aren't like super
Yeah,
game
that's it.
changing quality type players. Yeah.
Now, it's not like bone dry like 2013 first round, where it's like half of those dudes just are nobodies and we're nobodies in terms of playing in the league. But you go out there now and you're looking at people and you're like, oh, well, he's pretty decent, but then he has questionable medicals. And then that hurt that you had last year, that PTSD kind of pops up of, oh, well, why even add a person with questionable medicals coming in if they couldn't take care of the people that were already in there? But even though it's a whole new staff and it's different, it's still, the taste still lingers in that pocket. So man, it just is such a rough spot. And I want Kellen to succeed. I want him to have the leg up to produce and do what he can do, what I believe he can do, kind of what he showed he can do with the Eagles and some of his other stops. I just want him to have the best leg up to succeed, because it's just getting to the point now where, hey man, just stop guessing around it. Just tear it down. Just rip the band-aid off. Do it. Just do it at this point. We're gonna hit a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have more show. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. You ever take a bite of something and immediately think, yeah, I'm coming back for this? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant just added some new dishes, and man, they crushed it. The shrimp and crawfish pistolets, golden and stuffed with bold Cajun flavor. Fried oyster tacos, crispy, fresh with the perfect kick. And the soft shell crab Alfredo, creamy, rich, and absolutely worth the order. They're open 7 days a week, and they deliver late. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street.
Welcome to the Queen Casino, the crown jewel of entertainment destinations. From the thrill of gaming, where every spin and deal brings you closer to fortune, to the excitement of sports betting, where you can feel the rush of victory. Our spaces and catering menu are perfect for any event. From business meetings to grand celebrations, immerse yourself in our vibrant atmosphere with live music that keeps the party going all night long. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back for more NOF. It is now time for our question of the day, presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant and Bar. Today's question comes from Eric. Eric asks, which realistic non-quarterback would you look most sideways at?
Realistic non-quarterback I'd look most sideways at. I'm going to throw a crazy answer out there. Like, so there's, and I'm just going off of info here, like info that I've heard from people. So they've talked so much about wanting to get guys that love football, that are bought in all the way. And the tackle from Missouri, Membo, they're like these little questions that you keep hearing about him, about where he's at. You know, I think he's incredibly talented. I think he might end up having a great career. But, and again, I'm just speculating here. I'm not saying I've heard anything from the Saints side, but if these things are real, drafting him and then like finding out later would be crazy, considering that Kellen Moore's brother is the offensive coordinator at Missouri. So
Yeah,
I don't know that I would look sideways at it. But I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one, though, because like you hear these, if they draft him, I guess it means it's bullshit. But if they drafted him and like it turned out to where it's kind of like, hey, wait a minute, this guy's a little bit, I don't know, like, it's a little weird. I would look sideways at it because trusted people around the league have told me, like, I don't know. It's a little bit like he's an awesome player, but like I don't know if football's his primary interest in life.
Yeah, and look, sideways is a very strong word because this team, like I just finished saying, needs people. They need people. But I would go that same vein of somebody who, I mean, you can't hold what somebody said 2 or 3 years ago as what they believe now, but he's put it out there, and that question mark is there of somebody who questions their love of football in Ted McMillan. Now, if you get him and he's fully all the way in, and he's a playmaker like he was in college at Arizona, then perfect. But that kind of question of is this guy really bought in all the way? Especially because
Same deal, yeah.
yeah, we've both said it. We think this team is going to be bad. Winning, not winning is not fun. So is this person going to check out? That's kind of where I'm at with it in my head.
Yeah, I feel like culture guys are incredibly important
Yeah.
right now. Is Kellen Moore tries to establish what the Saints are going to be, what they're going to look like, how they're going to play football. They're going to probably be bad. You need those people that are pillars in your locker room. And I don't think this is a team that's in a place where you take people that are kind of checked in, kind of not checked in. I think everyone needs to be all the way bought in on towards building something. It's almost, you almost need to find a way to build that like startup culture where
Yeah.
everyone knows that, like, hey, we're going to have to put in these long hours and is going to lead to something great at the end. And I think that's what you need right now with the Saints and getting guys that maybe aren't wanting to put in that ninth, 10th hour. It just doesn't ring right to me, especially with where you're at with the new head coach, first time head
Exactly. Yeah.
coach, 36 years old. I think you just need to get the right guys in the locker room. And he has talked so much about how much he wants players that love football. He talked about it at that LSU coaches clinic. He's talked about it at the podium. Like, they just need to make sure they're getting those guys. So I'm with you. Anyone that kind of has that line in their Luther Burden's another one where I think his people just sent out practice tape to show that he actually practices hard. Like, if you're having to answer these questions, I think where this team's at right now, those are guys you bring into the 2017, 2018 locker room. Okay, there's some questions about these people, but damn, like the culture is just so strong. You can put them in there. They're going to go through the wash and it's just going to be so infectious. They're going to be in it. I think those are the kind of guys you bring into that locker room. When you're in an iffy spot, you need to find the Mario Davises, the Cam Jordans, like those types of guys that can help you rebuild that culture. I just don't think they're there right now. So I'm with you on him as well.
Right, because we've seen the locker room, with the ebbs and flows, but they still kept it together. Everything still stuck together throughout the season, even through firing a coach. And now this position coach is not here anymore, and this guy who we believe should have been at this spot is now at this spot, and we're working together and everything like that. We've seen it over the last 2-3 seasons, and if you get somebody who's in there at a high position and they're losing, is that person gonna just check out? Case in point with Tech McMillan at wide receiver, there was a point last year where Kevin Austin Jr. and MVS were your primary receivers. If his vets in Olave, Shaheed, and Cooks are out, and he becomes top bill, if he's not all the way invested, then how is he going to be top bill? You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I think definitely you put that person in a spot where they're winning, they can thrive. You know what I mean? But this is all.
You tell me Tet's bought in though, and he's right. Man,
and
this is a sick combo with him and Chris.
Yeah,
like,
we're
really
good.
is.
Yeah, we're cooking with hot grease right there. Yeah, but it's just the question mark that was presented is now there, and I think honestly, this kind of questioning will grow of commitment. Not commitment really to the sport, but commitment as a whole as we continue with the culture of NIL in the college landscape right now, because there's people who transfer portal in January and now are doing it again. And it's like, what do you mean you're not committed to the team that you went on basically a 90-day date with? You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But we appreciate you.
Yeah. You want people showing up to work and ready to go with the long bed, not the short bed. I mean, that's just really what it is.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate you all for stopping in today. Draft time. I mean, what else to say? Make sure you're locked into NewOrleans.Football. Use code NOF for 20% off your first purchase.
First
Nick,
payment.
Mike, first payment. Nick, Mike, got John on the team now.
Yeah, John
It's
Hendricks. Yeah.
it's cooking over here, man. Make sure you're on this boat or you're going to get left on the side. Catch you next time.